Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode. We are on episode number 40. Is it 40?
No, 39.
39. I'm sorry. 39. And we are discussing all things motion array today. We're going to take a look at a few different profiles that earn a range of monthly income between, 50 and under a month to over $1,500 a month. And we are going to link you to those descriptions, to those profiles in the description. So you can check them out yourself. And we're going to try to get a better sense between us of what works on the library and what doesn't. And I'm going to talk about my experience with Motion Array. Eric's going to talk about his, obviously, and what we've kind of learned in the last year or two. I guess it's almost been 2 years of working with them. A lot has changed on the library, but it's been a journey. So that's what we're going to dig into today. But before we get started, Eric, what's been going on this last week?
Well, I have been trying to get stuff to Spotify. I'm still on that. I might be changing to albums. I think we may have talked about that last time, just to get more stuff out. I have so many songs that to release them one at a time, either I'm going to forget, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to remember, to put them out. So I am definitely just trying to get more stuff out to Spotify, if nothing else, just so it's all out. I just feel like, part of our work is legacy, and the libraries are fine. Back in the day, though, we would have said if we weren't putting this on CD and putting it in stores, no one would hear it, right? That's true, yeah. I kind of feel like Spotify, Apple, all the stores online are part of the legacy of being found forever by people, no matter what happens. And so, as someone who is older than is the elder of our podcast here, I think, and I find this with my students, they'll talk about that some of the things they are concerned about is legacy, is what is going to happen to their music if they are no longer around, if they in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and that they start to think about these kind of legacy issues. And I just realized that most of my music is not out there, and it needs to be out there. So I'm trying to do that. I am planning more Hallowmas. I did a Hallowmas album of Halloween, Christmas type songs. I'm doing more of that, since one of those is continuing to pay me on Content ID. If it didn't, I wouldn't be making anything on Content ID.
Nice. I'm assuming you saw your June statement there.
Yeah, I got about 70 something bucks, so that was nice. Great. That one continues to make money, and so I also have a Christmas piano album I'm doing, and I am just trying to get stuff ready for the holidays. I think it's time. It's probably past time to get stuff ready for the holidays, but I'm going to try to release it over the course of September, October, November, and December, and just release once a week. And then by Christmas time, I'll have the whole Christmas album done. By Halloween time, I'll have the Halloween album done. So that's kind of the goal for that. I like making that music. It's fun for me. It continues to get used year after year, and it's used in a lot of things. And so I'm definitely going to continue making that kind of music. I'm composing wise, I have a lot of little starts. Sometimes when you just go in and do starts at school, I get a chance every once in a while to throw a little idea down, or here I'll mess with something. So I've got a bunch of starts for stock, mostly for stock, and I'm going to be working on those. Let's see, I have some new stuff, including covers to Crucial, which, by the way, I will be talking about in tomorrow's live. I will be doing on Friday. I experimented doing it on Thursday last week, and I didn't see that made much of a difference. So I'm going to do it again. Friday will be my live day. Friday live day. I'm actually thinking about calling it Friday News, or Music Income News Live, something like that.
But it
actually is going to be
a weekly recap or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like this is, this week in music income, that kind of a thing. But it really is. I mean, everything changes so much, and we had a big change to Crucial music this week, and a bunch of other things. And so I'm going to be talking about that in tomorrow's live. If you're watching this on Monday or listening to this on Monday, you can go back and check out that video. So yeah, I also have a music publishing video, very big video interview that I did with a music publisher that's coming out on Monday. It's supposed to come out Wednesday. There's too much editing. So I'm trying to get it down from an hour-long interview down to a manageable size, which is still going to be probably 30, 40 minutes. But that's only because there's so much good stuff in it. It's going to be very marked for every part of the thing we talk about, copyright and PRO and what does a publisher do and stuff like that. And stuff from the publisher's perspective. We're always thinking from our perspective, what's it going to do for me? But we don't think about what do music publishers do and what do they need to see and how does it affect large music entities. We don't think about that. We think about, we think about us and we don't think about what's Motion Array doing. And we'll talk about that today. But just generally with my channel, I'm trying to strike a balance between evergreen content, but also live content for the audience. And so just keep doing that. I'm still trying shorts, short video.
I saw the short the other day. That was cool. Yeah.
I don't mind doing short video. It's just, I just continue to wonder what that brings my bottom line. And as you know, with a channel called Make Music Income, I'm concerned with what the bottom line is. And if it's work for something that brings no bottom line other than some half notoriety on TikTok, or if I can't monetize it on TikTok or I can't monetize it on YouTube, and if I can't monetize it on YouTube and I can't monetize it on Reels or I can't monetize it on TikTok, then why am I doing it? So that's my only thing that I still try to do 1 or 2 a week. I know you're doing them as well. And then the big news that I have has nothing to do with my income. Well, maybe it might someday. But Hello Composers, my Composers channel is returning Tuesday, September 13th, which if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on Monday, it'll be tomorrow. But I am going to start a live every Tuesday. I think I can afford that time. Not doing any editing really to it. Just want to get back to kind of talking about composition rather than only talking about income all the time. I love this channel, Make Music Income channel and podcast, and it really still is exciting for me to talk about. I got a million things still to talk about. But I also want to talk about composition. And now that I am teaching music theory and music history and composition all the time, I have a lot to talk about. But I'll be talking about what I write for Sync, Stock, and all the music things, doing listening sessions and things like that. That'll all be on that channel. And that starts Tuesday, so people can go to hellocomposers.com to subscribe and be reminded about the broadcasts. So come on and join us there as we talk composition only. And again, I've always thought that Hello Composers would be the channel that would be the first one, and then they go to music production or Production Music Academy for the production, and then we wrap it all up with Make Music Income.
It's the trifecta.
Yeah, I think it is, and so that's kind of the goal behind it because I just want to do it. So we'll give that a shot, and it'll start Tuesday. That's all my news.
Cool, man. That's a lot. There's a lot happening over here as well. Interesting that you were mentioning you started off that that recap with Spotify. I mean, thinking a lot about Spotify too, and I hadn't actually checked in with my DistroKid earnings in a little while, and there's $1,000 sitting there waiting for me, which is so awesome. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool, and I've managed to sort of keep the monthly listeners above 2,500 right now. That's like I think it's at 2,600 listeners a month, and I've never done any kind of promotion or any kind of playlist pitching on Spotify whatsoever. So I really have to attribute those monthly listeners to the exposure that I've had through Artlist, and I really got to count that as sort of another income stream that's come from my work with Artlist. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's it's always got me thinking that I could be doing better there, and I really want to push my music out there too. One thing I'd be curious to know your opinion on is that I have all this music that I kind of write specifically for Motion Array, and we'll get more into that as we talk about Motion Array. But I wouldn't necessarily put that music on my personal Spotify profile. There's, I don't want to put all the music I write onto that Spotify profile. Otherwise, it's just going to get, confusing because there's all sorts of different stuff. And, I experiment with all sorts of different genres there. I'm thinking maybe what would be a smart move is to put like some of my more stock, type corporate stuff, maybe, like on a different Spotify profile. What do you think of that? I mean, like, I think that would make sense because I'd like to upload all of the music to Spotify. I'm not really sure, what would become of it, but it would be nice to kind of add that step to the list. And like last week we were talking about having a list of things to do. And, I think that it would be cool to upload every single track I do to Spotify. But like I said, not every track can live in my own profile because I want to curate it a little bit better than that. Right.
I understand because, as you know, I have a lot of brands, and that's one of the challenges with me with Spotify is I have to post to 6 to 10 different brands every time I put a song out.
It is a challenge. Yeah.
I have jazz brands and piano brands and a folk brand and a master score brand and a positive spin brand. I have all these brands, and probably none of them add up to much. My Player A jazz brand does the best, but that's because it's been around since 10 or more years and has had radio play and stuff. But I don't know, man. I think you have to be real careful because you could start another channel, another Spotify brand name, and it could get like way less unless somehow you can hook it into this one. Just because if you like came up with a corporate entity brand name type of thing, you could put all that stuff over there. Here's the thing. I'm not so sure all your music's as different as you think it is from the other. I tend to think of your music all very pop based, even the corporate stuff. I think that stuff is still very pop, R&B, hip hop based a lot of the time. And when I say pop, I think you can put hip hop and you can put all these different things in there. So if you or anyone watching this or listening to this is thinking about, do I need different brands? I think you need different brands when you have that you are absolutely say, this just does not fit. If I put this with the other music, people would be like, what is this? Unless you separated it with either playlist or albums and you just kept adding to an album every time and said corporate pop or whatever, or you came up with a slick name for it. But I don't know. I mean,
well, there's got to be some separation somewhere because
I am the guy who does a billion brands, so I'm the wrong guy to ask because I would just say, oh, I'm going to build another brand and throw it out there. So
yeah, well, there's got to be some separation at some point. I mean, that the branding of my Spotify profile is already all over the place. There's film soundtracks on there. There's lo-fi. There's soon to be some like folk music. So I mean, it is all over the place, and that's cool. I've kind of accepted that, but I don't think I would. I don't really know if there's any real point in uploading corporate type tracks to Spotify anyway, but I'm just sort of thinking it would be kind of cool to put it all out there for legacy's sake. It's an interesting discussion. Content ID for me was not spectacular. It was a little bit more than last month, but it's still like pretty small. It was like $28 for June, which is kind of like meh. I think I got like 78 total in there now. So what's the threshold for payment? Is it like 100 or something like that?
I think it's $100.
$100. So I'm almost there.
Well, you're not. That means you probably, if you're not to the threshold now, it'll be the next payment. The next payment is October 31st.
Right.
And,
yeah.
And that's we're done with the 6 month, with that last one. In other words, they will be paying for everything up to June 30th on October 31st. After that, the next one will be the next pay date.
Well,
so
I got a while.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing more videos being tracked this time, and I did have one that made like $7 or something like that. So. I'm seeing other videos, but it's weird because the one that has made me like the most of the $70 payment this time in June, that particular video had the same number as another video that was up there that only made me a few cents or something like that, and it might be that I'm not featured completely in that video? I don't know, or that I have no idea. I just don't know how it works exactly. I don't think anybody does.
It's a kind of a mysterious thing for sure. I mean, you'd think that with all the downloads I'm getting from Motion Array, it would pop up in more YouTube videos. But I think, at least the tracks that have done like really, really well, maybe are still like, they're still trying to source those. So it's slow, it's kind of like PRO royalties. You're seeing
The thing that I was always afraid of, and I don't fear this now because it doesn't seem to affect you. You mark down on all your library on Motion Array that they are the content ID, right?
Yeah.
Like your newest
Well,
songs that have been doing really
like
good?
new stuff is like some of my back catalog isn't, but because like I said, some of that stuff lives on Artlist as well. No, all the stuff I've been doing lately, it's like I put it up all in Content ID. So
the worry about things being filtered out because it's got the content ID on it doesn't seem to be affecting you.
No, not at all. Not
You
at
know?
all. Yeah, not at all. And I mean, I get at the end of the day, probably a lot of people are clearing the claims. So we kind of like assume. I guess we sort of depend on people not clearing the claims to make our money.
Yeah.
In other news, Artlist is making some changes to their platform. All of the authors got a little newsletter the other day, basically saying that they're changing their tier system for the subscription. So there's going to be like a pro tier subscription, and they're going to change the way the royalties are distributed based on what type of subscription people have. So the people with the pro subscription, downloading your content is going to be worth more to you than if they're just on like the basic subscription. And it also looks like they're going to start integrating their many different libraries into like one platform. I think that's what they're trying to do with the pro membership, is that it's going to include Motion Array templates for one thing, for like the graphics templates. And it's going to include, access to ArtGrid, which is their video, like the premium video stuff, stock video. Yeah. It's going to include the sound effects. It's going to include, I think they have one other company that they own, kind of like similar to Motion Array, but I can't remember what it is. But anyway, it's going to include all of it. And so I think that it's sort of, I was talking with someone about this the other day, and I was thinking, it sounds kind of like similar to the changes that they're going to make they made with Motion Array, to some extent. Whether it ends up being more royalty payouts or less for me in the end, I think it's going to mean more exposure and more users. And I think that this is a discussion I was having with my friend Pete the other day on Instagram, and he's convinced that whether it's a bigger royalty payout or not, I think that the most valuable thing at the end of the day is really the amount of exposure that you're getting. And he's seeing like a ton of placements on television. I looked at my TuneSat this morning, and there's like 200 placements now. It's
Wow.
huge.
From Artlist?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that it's from Artlist. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could be from Motion Array too, but
That would be really interesting to know if any Motion Array stuff, because you have the same songs on both, so it's hard to tell, right?
Exactly. Most of the placements are from stuff that's on Artlist. But it's also on Motion Array too. So I'm assuming it's probably from Artlist. Now, like last episode, we talked about, his music supervisor getting in touch with me about music that he found on Artlist. So, I mean, and now I've kind of built a relationship with that supervisor, right? And then that track got placed in the television show. And I'm starting to build relationships from the exposure that I'm getting from Artlist. And then again, tying back to what I said earlier with the Spotify plays, it's just like a wider exposure all around, and that's really the most important thing, because that's what's going to help me build my brand in the long term, right? So
Artlist has turned into basically a major library for you, as important as any sync library, basically. you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I don't know how their new royalties payout system is going to affect me. Because they only pay it once a year, so it's going to be hard to say. And I haven't put that much music up yet to Motion Array. I've been selling a lot of my music directly to them, right, which is a different model. So it's going to be hard to sort of assess what the changes mean for me. But I think that ultimately, I just want my music to be out there as much as possible. I think that's going to help me in the long run. So
even though this video is about, this episode is mostly focused on Motion Array.
Mm-hmm.
Motion Arrays are owned by Artlist, and it indirectly is about Artlist as well. And it lets you know the power of this, what we call mid-tier libraries, like an Artlist or some of these other ones that are not quite like on the level of a stock library. They're being seriously considered by music supervisors, obviously. Are you seeing TV shows in the States and stuff like that, or is this around the world?
There was one placement on Fox News, or a show on Fox Network, but the rest of them is it's Europe, it's UK, France.
All of mine have been mostly Germany so far, but a little bit in some other countries. But it's mostly non-US so far. But yeah, that's fantastic. And so this just shows that Artlist, at least, and possibly Motion Array, as far as we know, are generating syncs.
They're generating
not
syncs,
just
man.
stock music.
Yeah,
so that's pretty fantastic.
It's great news, and I'm hoping to see the results from PRO, like performance royalty payouts. Probably won't know that for a little while, but yeah, hopefully that's not too far away.
Cool.
Yeah, and Motion Array, speaking of Motion Array, this month is like, it's off to the races again. I think this is the fastest I've ever hit level 6. I'm already at level 6.
So has the plan to release around the first of the month? You carefully did that.
I kind of blew it, actually. The one track that's doing well right now came out right at the end of last month, and I uploaded it too early. I was thinking that it was going to take a full 2 weeks, but it took like 9 days. So there is some variance there with how fast they approve things. But regardless, one of my corporate tracks is starting to do really well. One of my hip hop tracks did really well for a little while, but it's kind of dropped down now. But yeah,
I was know
listening.
Really how you tell. I still don't understand the searching capabilities and how just because you were the top tune you're added in the last week. I'm not sure that translates to that's the most popular song on Motion Array. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't see the rhyme.
I don't really know exactly either. All I can say is that there is a correlation between the amount of downloads and earnings that I see in the back end and where my track is placing when I search the most popular track of the week or month. And if I'm if I'm on that first page, then the royalties are good. And that's what's happening right now. It's strange because it's been all over the place, because there was like a hip hop track, like I said, that it was a number 4 for a while, and I think this most popular of the week, and then now it's gone. It's like probably on page like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I saw it there the other day, and then now it's not even there.
Now it's not even there, and now there's another. My corporate track that I uploaded last month is number 20 or something on the first page of the most popular of the month of the last month. So,
cool.
Yeah, it's all over the place, but yeah,
mine is a little up. Mine, I don't work on the same level, but I'm at more downloads a day than I have been for a few months. And it's actually been growing. So I don't even know. I did put up 6 new tracks last month. Oops, my camera just died.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's because my phone is ringing. Let's just keep talking because.
Oh, yeah, let's keep talking. People will see a little plug, a little USB plug.
Yeah.
No,
our podcast people won't see it. I got to turn it
actually, I got one little thing I wanted to discuss before we get further into Motion Array, and that was just there you are, is the taxi thing. And we don't have to get into this too much, but I wanted to just give you guys an update of what happened with some of the taxi forwards that I got like 6-8 months ago. We talked about this briefly on last episode, did we? I can't remember if we did, but anyway, a library got in touch with me, and they were interested in working with me. They sent me like a contract to sign, and I went to check out their website and it's like brand new. There's like no information about them whatsoever. And I posted in the Discord and I said, hey, I just updated the Discord community and said, hey, this is, I just thought could we have a little subtopic for taxi music and yeah, Andy, I should shout out Andy. He had a great suggestion, which is like, you should just say like, hey, can I get a little bit more information about you guys, or can we connect? We can do a Zoom call or something like that. And I did. I reached out to them and I wrote them back and I said, look, I really appreciate that you guys got in touch with me. I'm flattered. But like I'd love to kind of get to know you guys personally. I'd like to know who I'm working with because there's no information whatsoever on your website about you guys. There's no history of placements.
Tiny bit sketch. So you're just like,
well,
just want to make sure
they could be totally
that they're
legit.
pros.
I'm not going to assume that they're sketchy. I'll just assume that they're great guys and they know what they're doing. But here's the thing, man. It's like, why should I sign over my hard work to you guys in perpetuity? And I know nothing about you. Like I know nothing about.
So they haven't contacted you back?
No, they haven't responded. I mean, I'll give them. I wrote this like 2 days ago, so I'll give them time to respond. I'm not going to assume that they're just going to ignore me, but like I just think that look, if it was a library that had like a history of placements and they had like more information about what they were doing and everything, I'd be like, yeah, okay, here you go. Here's the stems. Cause like they want the stems, they want everything, they want alt mixes, all that. It's a lot of work, man. That's like hours of work for me to do.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm just not,
and
I'm
perpetuity is a big deal.
It is.
Because you could use those somewhere else, possibly.
It totally.
All three sync libraries I have signed with, I have talked on the phone with them at least once.
Yeah,
and most of them I've had many Zooms or many phone calls with that lasted half hour to hours talking about next things. And so now that said, I'm trying to get in touch with one of my libraries right now and I can't get in touch with him. Yeah. But that's just that happens from time to time. But then when we talk, he'll talk for as long as I want to talk. And so yeah, I think it's important. I think it's hugely important for sure. Yeah.
I think so, right? I mean, it's just like, what, this is my work. Am I ever going to see it again? Am I going to hear from you guys again? Like, I just don't want, the email from them was just like, was like, here's what we want. Here's everything you need to do and everything. It was sort of like, I don't know, man. It's just a little bit, I mean, hopefully.
Was it a bit of a form email? Like they might send that out to a lot of people?
Yeah, it was probably like a form email, but, I just feel like I want to have a personal connection when I'm signing my music away to somebody.
No doubt.
Even Artlist, like, they're a big company. They have thousands and thousands of artists they're working with. I've had multiple Zoom calls with those guys. Yeah. They make the time to
hey, we've had conversations with Motion Array. I've had conversations with Pond 5 that they get back to me personally, and yeah. Don't you think they have 500,000 composers, in them?
Totally.
Audio Jungle as well. They get back to me with personal responses. They're not. I mean, sometimes they might start with, "Hey, Eric, thank you for getting in contact with me. I understand your problem here," and then they'll say something a little personal, and then they'll drop some information from the site and like, "Here's what we usually say about this bloom," but at least it's a personal response. It's not just a thing somebody somewhere is paying attention to you. Same with my other libraries. So I'd like to personally find a couple more, but I'm like you. I have to be able to talk to them. I have to be able to.
I think I think what kind of irked me a little bit is just that there was an assumption that I was just gonna sign the contracts and send over the music and like it's like a done deal. Like I would have rather them just reach out to me and be like, hey, we're so and so from this library. Listen to your music, really, really appreciate it. Like maybe we could, like, would you be, can we talk or can we connect or something like that? Something more personal would have been nice from my end. But we'll see. We'll let them respond. I did write an email and I basically said everything I just told you. So we'll see what they say. But yeah, I don't know.
My day in video of reckoning with Taxi is fast approaching. We're probably a month or two away from when my next renewal
I'm gonna have to renew. I'm gonna have to decide whether to renew. Maybe we should do a joint Taxi video. But anyway.
I don't want to get you in trouble. I'm kind of, I might be blacklisted there, and I've already been told in no certain terms that some people are not going to work with me because I've made this video about taxi. It was actually, I think, in the special that we did with him
so
that
silly.
he says, you know, some people said, well, why would I want to work with that guy? He sounds like trouble. I'm like, do I? If you watch any of my other videos, do I sound like trouble?
No.
Or do I sound like somebody who, you know? So anyway, we'll see. I just submitted something recently and waiting to see what happens. And I've got some more I'm getting ready to submit. So I'm not done submitting by any stretch. I'm going to fulfill what I said and do what I said, but then I will show everyone the numbers and results. All we can do is report what our experiences are, which is what we're getting ready to do right now with Motion Array. And we're not only going to talk about your experience, my experience, but a couple other people who fall between us and under us and over us, you know, as far as how much they make from Motion Array so that people can know. But we're going to also talk about the reality of what most people say about Motion Array. So should we start? How should we start this? Are you done? Are you ready to start?
Yeah, let's start. And let's talk. Let's maybe I'll screenshot the well, in the editing, I'll pull up that poll that you posted on YouTube.
It's still changing. I told people, hey, we're going to do this, and people are still adding, and so it's only at 58 votes, so it's not like a million people are talking to us, because not everybody who follows my channel is able to get on Motion Array. So
that's true. Why don't you read it off so that the listeners know what the results are of that, because they're interesting.
Okay, so the poll was written as Motion Array composers. What has been your average monthly income in 2022 with Motion Array so far? And so I wrote down the following numbers. And I only gave them these 5 opportunities because you only get 5 poll things in YouTube. Mm-hmm. And so they were $1,500 plus, $1,000 to $1,499, $500 to $999 a month, $50 to $499 a month, and then $50 or under a month. And the overwhelming champion was $50 and under at 67%.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and most people identify with that. I just had someone, I mentioned this on Discord that we were getting ready to talk about this, and somebody just said, yeah, 0 to 50 for me, but I'm new there, just joined in January. But I know a lot of people who, I think, who was it that sent me something? Was it Osynth, I believe, sent me a message about this. And he showed me his results for 2021 and 2022. And 2021 looks like he averaged over 100 to 150 a month as far as income, not downloads. So far this month, it's way more down into the 70s, or maybe even earlier than that. With 1 month, only $15. So
So he's seen a decline in 2022 overall.
Yeah, he had one staff pick, but yeah, he's seen a huge decline. But he definitely falls now in the. He doesn't fall in the 50 or under, but he still has seen a decline, just like I did. And I'm in the next one up from there. I'm in the 50 to 499, which was 19%. That was the next biggest section in the poll, which was actually, it goes all the way up. It waterfalls down from 50 or under, and then 50 to 499 was the next biggest at 19%, and then 500 to $999 is 7%. 1,000 to 1,499, which I believe is where you probably slot in, likely is 5%, and then the 2%, I call them the 1%, but the 2% said they made over $1,500 a month from this poll.
Yeah, do we know who that is other than maybe Lester?
I don't even know if Lester voted in this, so it doesn't say.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy.
Now, I always say when I have a poll like this that someone is going to look at that 2% and say, "So you're saying there's a chance?" And really, if you just watch this broadcast and listen to what Steve talks about with his experiences, you know there's a chance to make $1,000 to $2,000 a month with Motion Array, because you have quite a few times this year.
Well,
And
I'll tell you
wouldn't you
what.
say,
I mean, there's certainly a chance. I mean, I don't know if yeah, like you said, I don't know if Lester voted, but I mean, he sent me a screenshot of uh, his earnings this year, and they're out of control, man. That's crazy. He's got 1 month where he hit like over $3,200 US.
$3,200? And we're going to talk about Lester. He's told us we can talk about him. You saw him interviewed here on this podcast, and we talked about him. He pretty much focuses on this. Is he an Artlist as well?
No, I don't think he is on Artlist. He's an old school Audio Jungle guy. He was cleaning up on Audio Jungle back in the day. I think he still does really well actually on Audio Jungle. But he is also making insane amounts of money with Content ID. He's just killing it in the Content ID. His music is being used in tons of YouTube videos.
But that's because he's getting thousands of downloads.
Yeah, absolutely.
Literally thousands of downloads. So
he's been in the game for a while. He's been doing.
He's been in the game for a while. And the other thing we need to talk about with top performers like him, and you can see his work at Blue Fox Music on Motion Array. We're going to put the links
we'll link
down.
that in the description. Yeah.
And when you listen to what style he does. Yeah. It is. Is there anything mid-tempo or slow tempo on his channel?
It's super energetic. He's a master at synth pop type stuff. He's amazing at
guitar.
Rock. He's amazing at rock. Some of his rock tracks are just killing it. But he does hip hop as well. He's a really talented producer and does all sorts of different types of music. But it's all, I've talked to him about this. He spends a lot of time on one song, a lot of time. He'll really, really go deep, way deeper than I even do.
But it pays off.
A month. Yeah, he'll just. You could really hear it in his work, man. He really crafts he's great with the arrangements. He'll do really interesting B sections, stuff that I kind of neglect sometimes. I sometimes just work on an 8-bar loop and then just kind of make that and then dress it up. But Lester will do some really interesting things. He'll do a bridge, more classic type songwriting. So there's room for that kind of. For that kind of thing on Motion Array, which is cool, and it's obviously paying off for him. So it's really interesting to see. But go listen to his music. Really, really energetic, powerful. You can immediately envision it being in whatever, vlogs, energetic type content, ad material. It's perfect for that kind of stuff. So.
I really think that's important that we realize how up-tempo stuff works. For that, I watch a lot of YouTube creator content. I have several creators I follow who are not music based. They're entertainment based, travel based, Disney based, or whatever. And all the time they are putting little things up that they're while they go do something. They're showing them swimming in the ocean or whatever, and they've got this music playing. It's not medium beat. It's not slow. It's not jazzy. It's not Halloween music. It's up-tempo, fun music. It's similar to, and you follow this. I think you follow this as well as you slot in on this second lowest tier of our poll, which is, the 1,000 to $14.99 average. And you've made more than that, but your average, you slot into that too. How many things do you do for Motion Array that are under 100 BPM or even 110
well,
BPM?
I've had some 90 BPM lo-fi do well on the library. But still, it still has it. You can still make things sound energetic at a low tempo. It's really more the kind of delivery of it. Rather than the tempo itself, but I've had lo-fi do really well on the library. I've kind of taken a break from lo-fi recently and focused on more high tempo energy stuff. The most success I've ever had with any track is the high energy hip hop track, which I can't remember the tempo. It was 100, 110 or something, 115. But it's big energy, and that one did really, really well. And I had an over, my payout for the month was over 2,000. I think it was 2,300. And that was my top month. I've had other months where it's like 500 ish, so it all kind of balances out, and it's an average of about 1,100 or so dollars a month so far this year, which is great. And I don't upload that much music. This last month was 3 tracks. That's like the most I've done all year. Usually it's just 1 track a month. And yeah, I think that it's okay. So I listened to the top 20 tracks in most popular of the last month this morning, and there's it's a real diverse range of genres and styles in there, but there's a lot of corporate, man. There's a lot of corporate, and a range of different styles of corporate. There's like kind of corporate rock. I've heard there was like an EDM sort of corporate thing in there, but really simple. And like, surprisingly, like actually there was one song, I can't remember which one it was, but it had like this out of tune, like guitar lick in it. I was like really surprised. I was like, wow. Like, I'm like, it's really dead simple. It was almost like kind of like Pond 5 style, like really stripped back and minimal. And then there was a comedy track in there. There was,
I heard that.
There was like there was a trap thing in there, which is like, I don't hear that very often. Yeah,
and this is most popular, right? Not stat
most
pick,
popular,
but
most popular of the last month. Yeah, surprisingly, very little hip hop except for that trap song. So it was interesting, man. But wow! I just got a notification. The Queen has passed.
Oh, God save the Queen.
Yeah, God bless. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Sending love out to all of our UK listeners. Sending love.
Yeah, and you guys also are.
Yeah, we are the. Somewhere. Yeah, that's right. That's sad.
So, moving on from that sad news, I think that just talking about my own motion array, which is down from an average last year of, looks like I made about. Did I not average that out last month? Last year, my average was, hopefully Excel will tell me, my average was over $300 a month on Motion Array.
Yeah.
And this year, it's a third of that.
That sucks.
Average. I've had a couple months that were like $250, but both those months were because I got a bonus. And so every other month I have been lucky enough to be paid every month because I've been over the $50 threshold. But and now, as everybody might know, I have put less time into stock this year than normal. Mm-hmm. Not because just because it doesn't generate enough income for me to put my main income, my YouTube channel, literally, and it makes more.
I think another
array, and all stock almost.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, the fact that the output is less is obviously a factor in the decrease in monthly payout for you. But I think another two very important things to consider is one, probably a threefold increase in the amount of authors on the site. There was a huge influx of applications to work with Motion Array, I think, at one point, late last year. Or last year at some point. And then also the royalty distribution model obviously has to have an effect. We know that for a fact just because of the amount of people that reported a dramatic drop in royalties like as soon as January hit, and they did this new model. So I mean, they didn't have those kinds of like top 20 bonus things last year. Or maybe they did, and I just wasn't hitting them.
But I had a client last year who put 5 songs on Motion Array in October, November, and December, and she was having $500 months with 3 songs on there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it was just a different time. It was a different
those
way
were vocal
of
songs, right?
They were vocal songs.
Yeah, I should point out there was a vocal track on the top 20 that I listened to today too. That was
I should put more vocal songs. They love vocal songs on Motion Array for sure.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about was I think obviously there's, like I talked about the bonus, the request bonus, and I put 4 songs in the requests last month, and so I don't know exactly when that hits. I think we don't know that until like the 10th or something like that. I don't know if that's already been reported, but do you have any, and then there's the top 20 bonus, right? Is that the
there's
other
a top
bonus?
20 bonuses. They multiply your downloads for the month and calculate your royalty payout based on
When
that.
do you start to see that? Is there a time every month that you see that on Motion Array?
You don't know.
Have you seen it already?
You don't know until the month's up, and it shows up on your statement.
Okay, so not until the statements are ready, which is we haven't
Yeah.
gotten those yet for the last month. Okay.
No.
Well, we'll see. I put some up last month that I thought were pretty right on the nose, and I didn't get a bonus last month. So we'll see, because the bonus would help take the average up a little bit. But yeah, I'm not. Like I said, I put 6 in last month only because there was a stuff where I had a lot that was in one of those requests that I had 4 that I put up, and I put them up after the request was filled, and they still got into that thing. Now I don't know if that will affect if there's a bonus or not, so we'll see. But that again, Steve and I go about this at a very different way. Like I just said, I'm going to sit here and work on Halloween tunes and Christmas piano tunes. That may not be, even though some of my top downloads are some of my piano solo tunes, especially hymns of all things on Motion Array. But that's not going to be the thing that gets 1,000 downloads. You can be as artsy as you want to be. You can be as, I'm going to do this my way as I want to be. But you're also going to get the results that you get versus the results of other people who, like Steve, goes and listens to the top 20 and says, I'm going to make something like that. And then he, unsurprisingly, with his skills, has success and makes more money than we do. Same
Yeah.
with
And that's just for Motion Array, like I don't want people listening to be like, oh, I have to write corporate to do well with sync licensing. No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
Because look at, if you go to Artlist, you're not seeing the same types of corporate tracks that you find on Motion Array. It's a totally different brand. Music Vine, Artlist, other libraries have no interest in that kind of stuff.
Bed tracks and all those other ones.
If you want to get artsy, if that's your thing, like you
bed.
might find that there's a better place for your music to live. And I'm writing music that's, like you said, it's designed to do well on Motion Array. And that's music just for Motion Array. And that's music I'm uploading to Content ID, which restricts me from putting it in a lot of other places. So, right, it's just a Motion Array strategy. That's what we're talking about today. But
I mean, you could put it on Audio Jungle and Pond 5 if you wanted.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. I could do that. Okay. And what other libraries you work with? Motion Elements and Yummy Sounds.
Yeah, and VFine and a bunch of others that don't make you any money, or at least they don't make me any money. Now, VFine is making a lot of people money right now, but on the old, they have an old system
finally started
and a
to
new
pick up?
system, and well, not on the new system. I
on
see
the
people on the
system.
Discord seeing $100 payouts from VFine, which means they made a lot of yen or won or whatever it's called,
yuan.
and they made a lot of that, and then and by the time they take all the taxes out and everything, they still make 3 figures. But they did that on the old VFine system, not the new one. It was the old one that was paying them, or 100 Audio also is paying some people. I'm not having luck with any of the Chinese libraries. So, but then again, I don't pay a lot of attention to them, except for the new VFine site, which is super easy to download. You don't have to do anything. So I keep uploading there just because I can upload fast there. But I just don't see much beyond Motion Array, Content ID, Pond 5, and Audio Jungle, and Audio Jungle might threaten to come back and catch and pass Pond 5. Those are going to be the top 4. Those are the ones I check every day. Everything else is a few bucks here, a few bucks there, and might add to the bottom line. I might get a paycheck one day from Audio Sparks, or one day from Motion Elements, or one day. But a lot of these things, like Content ID, which, it's great to say I made $72 for June, but that plus everything back to February when we signed up has to add up to, so I get a check on October 31st. And so, you have to, so it's not like I make that money. I didn't get it this month just because I made it in June. I actually don't get it for 2 or at least another month 2 months almost. So
Yeah.
some of that stuff is just so crazy. But Motion Array continues to be that place, and to be honest, Pond 5 and Audio Jungle can be that place that pay you every month.
Yeah,
and
totally.
that's the kind of thing people are looking for. That's why people keep listening to these videos and podcasts about this stock music, and they love the idea of any passive income, right?
Yeah.
So, sorry, it's so funky in here with my lighting, but it's just
it's cool.
the oncoming storm that's coming.
It's vibey.
So it's made everything very colorful.
I should also mention that this whole week, because this is coming out on Monday, so those of you watching this, you can look forward to a video that I'm putting out on Wednesday, which is an interview with Alex B. Notable contributor in our Discord, member of the Production Music Academy, awesome all-around dude from Brazil, and he just recently got into Motion Array after being rejected twice. He got it in on his third try. That
He's probably going to be
out.
Like, all that for this, but
well, no, I think he's going to do well. I think he's going to do great in there.
Okay, great.
And his productions are just getting so awesome that he just keeps improving and just keeps writing these amazing, funky, lo-fi, sometimes up-tempo hip-hop tracks. It's always a pleasure to feature his music, and he's just such an awesome dude. So I'm going to put that interview out on Wednesday, and I think people will enjoy that. If you're trying to get into the library, I highly recommend watching that interview because it'll give you some really interesting insight into the application process.
So if you are, just to kind of start to put a wrap on this video, if you are wanting to make income with Motion Array, and you're looking at this poll and seeing that 67% are making $50 or less, and there are a very, very privileged few making, 7%, making over $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. You need to know that that is probably the way it should be. Actually, it should be that way. That people who are really focused on Motion Array, a lot of us composers are just focused on music that goes everywhere. Mm-hmm. And we've been told that from the start by the gurus of all of this. I mean, you once probably said this, Daniel has certainly said this, and that is make music and put it everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that is the goal. Make your style, go for your style, and do this and put this up there, do it in loops and do it in this way and that way. And all of that to say that I think we were moving past that if you want to make income. Now, if you don't care about making income, don't worry about it. If you just are doing this for fun and doing this, to have fun, then you're going to likely fall in the 68% that are under 50. It's changed, by the way. It's 68% now that are under 50%.
Real-time changes.
Real-time data here on the Make Music Income podcast. We have all the time. We've got it going for you. Yeah. But, if you want to fall in that, even that, let's say 12, 14% that are over 500 a month, I think you have to focus on writing things that you see do well and that are going to do well. And if you don't, and you just write whatever and it gets in, you're going to probably fall in the lower echelons like I do. And you're just going to have to deal with that, and that's going to be the way it is. But this is no different than if you want to get a record deal. If you want to get a record deal, then you better be really hot and working hard on your music. You better be trying to emulate stuff that's hot, the current styles of the day, all that kind of stuff. If you want a publishing deal, same. If you want to, it's no different than anything. It's no different than any other occupation. If you want to get a job teaching, and you better get a doctorate. If you want the very highest level possible, you've got to do that kind, the high end work. And I think that's the thing that we think, hey, we're making music, and everybody thinks that they're making music, but you got to make what the library wants, and it's very obvious to see what the library wants, and you just checked that out the other day.
That is the nice thing, is it's very obvious to see. You can really figure that out. You just got to listen. I do a lot of listening, so I tell people all the time. It's like you want to really figure out how to hack that system, just listen. Do a lot of listening. Spend an hour listening to the tracks. Take notes. Use reference tracks when you're composing. And yeah, like everything you said, man, I think that's a great place to wrap this up. It's a really interesting discussion, and that distribution, the what we're seeing there in terms of the percentages is probably very indicative of the music industry as a whole, and the sync licensing. There's 10% or less that are doing really, really well, and a lot of people are sort of in the middle. And then you got a lot of people who are kind of starting out and not doing so well. They're at the beginning of their journey, and everyone is there's absolutely a possibility to do well, but it does take a lot of work and persistence and yeah, I'm always learning. Every day I'm learning something new. I'm getting better at my craft, and things have gotten a lot better for me overall, just from sitting down and doing this. Spending time doing it every day, and I think that's reflected in my success on Motion Array and Artlist as well. So
I'm not sure that this quality thing applies at Pond 5 or it applies at Audio Jungle because there's so much out there, but it certainly applies at an Artlist or Motion Array where they are carefully curating, and sync libraries and things like that where they are carefully curating.
Yeah,
it better be that high quality. And I know everybody watching this is like, I'm trying. I'm like, well, keep trying. There's no other answer. There's not like an answer like, all right, well, then you can just continue what you're doing. Eventually, you'll start making $1,000 a month, and that's just not the way it's going to be. Like all of us, I could choose to really only do what Stevie B is doing and what Lester is doing, and really emulate that and really work hard on that and get musicians to play with me and do all the kind of things to make that kind of music. I just choose not to, and so I don't make as much, and so I can't be surprised that I don't. So.
Yeah, well, we only have so much time in a day to do the things that we really want to do, and you got to pick and choose your battles. So,
for sure.
Yeah, that's the way it is. But yeah, this is a good talk, man. I think that's
all
a good
right.
place to
Well,
end it.
I hope this has been somewhat helpful and not depressing. But it will hopefully maybe it'll light a fire under you to go, and if you're a Motion Array composer or you want to get in Motion Array, start to go listen and see what that kind of music is, and if you do make that kind of music, to get in there and start making some money.
Yeah, I hope that it will motivate everyone listening. It's certainly not meant to be a downer in any way. And shameless plug, if you want to learn more about production music, come check out productionmusicacademy.com and check out all the content that Eric's putting out on his channel, makemusicincome.com. Lots of information, and we're here talking about it every week. And I love these discussions because it gets me motivated.
And I'm usually not,
super motivated.
I don't look so much like a salmon or something like I do right now. I don't know what the deal is with the lighting in here. So, but for those of you listening on the podcast, thanks for listening today and hanging out with us. And I hope you have a great week. And just check out the rest of our content. And we got more to tell you. So we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, see you guys next time. Take care.